What if I told you that 5 simple mistakes in your job interview could be costing you $50,000 or more per year? I'm not talking about the small stuff here. I'm talking about the difference between landing a $45,000 customer service role versus a $95,000 project management position. Now believe me, as someone who went from earning $200 per month to managing a multi-million-dollar YouTube channels remotely, I've seen these exact mistakes destroy incredible candidates. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you 7 deadliest remote interview mistakes that are sabotaging your earning potential, and most importantly, how to actually fix them. Because when you actually nail these details, companies, they don't just hire you, they fight over you. Hey everyone, I'm Aggie Steven, and I help people transition from their traditional 9-to-5 jobs to high-paying remote careers. Now, before we actually dive in, let me quickly establish why you should actually listen to me about remote interviews. 3 years ago, I was exactly in your position. I was the one getting rejected from remote position. Now, I failed interview after interview until I finally cracked the code. Now, today I work remotely for Charlie, who has amassed 1 million subscribers, managing his YouTube channels that generate over $100,000 per month. But here's the crucial part. I'm now involved in hiring remote team members. Last year, I've been on over 50 remote job interviews, both as a candidate and evaluating other candidates. And let me tell you, I see the same costly mistakes over and over again. The difference between candidates who get offers and candidates that doesn't isn't talent or experience. It's actually knowing how remote interviews work. Most people prepare for this remote interview like they're in-person interviews. And that's mistake number 1. Mistake number 1, technical disasters that scream, I'm not ready for remote work. Last month, I actually interviewed a candidate applying for a virtual assistant remote position. She's incredibly qualified, perfect resume, but 30 seconds into the interview, her audio actually got cut out. And we spent 10 minutes actually troubleshooting. When we actually got finally connected, her camera kept on freezing. Here's what you don't understand. When companies actually hire remote workers, technical competence isn't just preferred, it's absolutely essential. If you can't handle a simple video call, how can they trust you to actually manage their digital workflows? According to my research, and I could be right or wrong here, but what I found is that candidates with technical issues are 73% less likely to receive a job offers, regardless of their qualification. The fix is actually quite simple, but most people often skip this step, which is test everything before your interview. I mean everything. Your camera, angle, audio quality, your internet speed, and backup connection options. Your camera should be exactly at the eye level. You should actually have a good lighting that's facing towards you. And your background should be clean and professional, without any interruption. This isn't optional, it's actually the standard for remote work position. Mistake number 2, which is actually treating remote interviews like casual conversation. I cannot tell you how many candidates I've interviewed who actually mumble. They use filler words constantly. Or even worse, they're the one who actually treat the interview like they're texting a friend. Examples like, yeah, so like, I think I'd be good at this job because, you know, I'm pretty organized at stuff. Now compare that to someone who's professional. I'm excited about this position because my experience managing multiple projects while working independently has taught me the importance of clear, proactive communication in a remote environment. Now here's the reality. Remote work is 80% communication. Everything you do, from daily stand-ups to project updates to problem solving, happens through digital communication. If you can't articulate your thoughts clearly and confidentially in an interview, employers assume you can't do it on your job. In my experience hiring remotely, candidates with excellent communication skills get offered position 40 to even 60% more than those with poor communications, even if they have the same identical qualification. Now, mistake number 3 is actually asking questions that reveal that you don't understand remote work culture. Last week, a funny story was that a candidate asked me, so when do I need to be online? Like, do you guys track if I log in and actually log out? Now, the question is actually not wrong. I mean, I can answer that honestly, but it's something to keep in mind that they're thinking more like an employee, not like a results-driven professional. When I say results-driven professional, it doesn't mean that you need to have a working culture 24/7. No, work-life balance is actually important, but remote worker separates themselves as a traditional employee by not just coming into the office and thinking that, hey, my work is done, let me go back home. Remote workers are actually more productive. They know that they can't be managed, so they need to actually give result. Other terrible questions I hear along the interview. Do you guys have a lot of meetings? What happens if my internet goes down? Or is there someone who can help me if I get stuck? Now, these questions are technically what a beginner should be asking. They technically scream, I need constant supervision. Remote companies don't actually want employees. I know how funny this may sound. They actually want partners who can actually solve work independently. So instead of asking those beginner mistake that screams, I'm new to remote work, I want you to start asking these questions. What does success look like in this role after 90 days? Or how does team actually handle asynchronous communications between different time zones? And how do you measure performance in remote roles? This question actually shows the employer that you're thinking strategically, not just showing up for a paycheck. Now, mistake number 4 is actually quite interesting. It's actually failing to demonstrate remote work capabilities during the interview itself. Now, here's what actually separates six-figure remote workers from an entry-level position. They don't just tell you they can work remotely, they actually show you during the interview. This is a quick tip from me because whenever I go to an interview that is hiring remotely, I always come prepared to actually share my screen. I have examples ready to go. Maybe a project timeline I created, communication workflow I designed, or even just a well-organized folder structure that shows my digital organization skills. Most candidates, they just talk about their experience. Hey, I did this, I did that. High-earning candidates demonstrate their capabilities live. They screen share, walk through examples, and prove they can actually handle digital workflows seamlessly. Here's what I recommend. Create one simple portfolio folder with 3 or even 4 examples of your work. Even if you've never worked remotely, you can actually show school projects, projects that you voluntarily went into, personal organization system on how you stay productive, or something that you have done for a client that is digital. Just showcase something that actually screams you're the right person for this job. Now, a funny story on how this can actually work. I know someone who got hired a $70,000 remote job position in a marketing role without actually any marketing experience. Simply because he screen shared a detailed content calendar he created for his personal blog during the interview. He expanded by saying what he's going to do when he gets hired by week 1, by week 2, by week 3, and by week 4, and actually showed the metrics of performance in 90 days. That level of preparation and digital fluency immediately sets you apart. Mistake number 5, and I've seen a lot of people do this, completely butchering up the follow-up, expecting that the employer or the HR team is going to reach out for them. After interviewing candidates, I'm actually quite shocked by how many candidates actually disappear completely or send generic thank you message that adds zero value. Now, a bad follow-up example is actually something like this down the line. Thanks for your time today. I look forward to hearing from you. That's it. No value. Nothing that makes me remember positively about them. Now, let's compare it with a good follow-up example. Pay particularly attention to what top candidates do. They send a follow-up within 24 hours that includes something valuable. Maybe they share to an article towards the challenge that we discussed, or they sent a one-page document with ideas for improving a process we mentioned earlier in our call. So it goes something like this down the line. Hi Aggie, thank you for taking the time to interview me yesterday. Our conversation about streamlining your content workflow gave me some ideas. I've attached a brief document outlining a potential process optimization that could save your team 5 to even 10 hours per week. I'd love to discuss this further if you're interested. Now, see the difference? They actually listen well and they're still following up in a good manner with active communication. In my experience, candidates who send value-driven follow-ups are 3 times more likely to receive an offer. And those offers average 25% higher than standard market rates because it actually shows they're being a proactive communicator. Now, mistake number 6, accepting the first offer instead of negotiating strategically for a remote position. Here's something that most people don't know. Remote positions actually have a wider salary range compared to those traditional jobs because companies save money on office space, equipment, and even local market constraints. I've personally seen identical remote position at the same company offering $45,000 to one candidate and $68,000 to another candidate. Now, the difference is actually very simple. They actually position themselves and negotiated. When you actually get a remote job offer, here's your response framework. Thank you for the offer. I'm excited about joining the team. Based on my research of similar remote roles and the value that I can bring, I was expecting something in the range of X to Y. Can we discuss the compensation package? Notice how I said compensation package, not just salary. Remote companies often have flexibility with benefits, professional development budget, equipment allowances, and performance bonuses. One person I mentored actually used this exact framework and turned a $52,000 offer into a $67,000 offer plus a $2,000 annual learning budget and upgraded equipment package. Now, if you do the math, that's actually a $17,000 annual value increase from one conversation. Now, the moment you're all waiting for, the final mistake. Before I go through the final mistake, I just want to thank you guys for watching all the video until the end. My loyal viewers, which is you, thank you so much. Now, moving on with the content. Now, the final mistake is not understanding that remote work culture is completely different than traditional work culture. Now, I know it seems so obvious, like no shit, Sherlock, but in traditional jobs, showing up and being busy often matters more than results. And trust me, I've been there and done that. In remote work, it's all about 100% outcome. So when interviewers ask, how do you actually stay motivated working from home? Most candidates talk about the classic, being disciplined and also managing my time schedules. That's the wrong answer. The right answer shows that you actually understand remote work culture, which is I'm motivated by results and impact. Now, when I can see how my work directly contributes to team goals and company growth, location becomes irrelevant. I actually find I'm more productive working remotely because I can optimize my environment and focus time for more maximum outputs. If you say actually something around that, this shows that you actually understand that remote companies hire for outcomes. You're not an employee that needs to be managed. Now, candidates who demonstrate a cultural understanding, so-called label culture fit, earns an average of $18,000 more in their first remote role compared to those who approach remote work like the traditional employment. And trust me, this was my beginner's mistake. Now that you know what not to do, let me give you the exact framework that helps dozens of people I've mentored and also coached land high-paying remote job position. And this is what I call the high-earning remote interview framework. So within your pre-interview 24 hours before, test all your technologies and have backup ready. The second step, you want to actually prepare 3 to 4 digital examples ready for you to screen share later on within the interview. The next thing you want to do is actually research about the company's culture and actually the tools they use in their system. And after, you want to practice articulating your value in a results-focused language. Now, during the interview, I actually want you to demonstrate technical competence, communicate clearly and confidentially. Ask anything about strategic questions, about outcomes or processes that this company uses, and show examples of your digital organization skills. After your interview is finished, take a deep breath and voila, you must do these very exact steps. Send your value-driven follow-up with actionable insights. Include relevant resources or ideas within the email that you're sending, and reiterate your enthusiasm for creating specific outcomes. And congratulations, if you've got the job, there are still some steps that you need to follow. You need to research remote market rates for your roles because this will be impactful when you're negotiating. Second step is to position yourself based on value creation. The final step is to negotiate total compensation package and not just salary. This framework has helped me, myself, my friends, and the people I've mentored compared to any standard advices. Now, if you have a remote interview coming up, take the next hour to actually prepare using this exact framework. Now, if you don't have an interview scheduled yet, that's okay. Use these insights to improve your current job search strategy. Remember, 3 years ago, I was exactly at the same position that you are in right now, earning $200 a month, commuting hours every day back and forth towards my place and towards my workplace. The difference between that life and my current remote career, earning thousands per month, is by mastering these exact interview principles. Now, let me give you a straight fact. The remote job market is worth over $4.8 trillion globally. And companies are actually paying premium salaries for people who can work effectively remotely. Don't let a simple interview mistake cost you your share of that opportunity. If this video actually saved you from making that remote interview mistakes, I want you guys to actually give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more remote work strategies that actually work. And please, I actually replied to your comment. Comment down below. Tell me what mistakes have you been making when applying remotely, and what are some of the mistakes in the process of that applications, so I can actually make a video upon that. Now, if you want to see more content like this, please check out my next video right over here. And that's all from me today. I'm Steven, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.